phase 3. Sanjay sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Sir, exact 10 o'clock we will start the sessions.
I'm available now. It's your turn.
Okay, sir. Fine.
Thank you.
Fine. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Shilpa.
Good morning, ma'am. Little bit your camera.
Okay, Shilpa.
No, ma'am. Still spotlight. 1 second, ma'am. Let me check. Still, it is not completely visible, ma'am. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Okay. There it is coming. For me, it was not able to see properly. On mobile. Yes, forehead is not visible, ma'am. Little bit back, or you have to. Yeah, now it's fine. Yes. Correct. Yeah. We'll start, ma'am. Another 5 minutes. We'll start.
Yeah.
Pauline, ma'am, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Somshekar sir? Somshekar sir?
Fine, madam. Fine, madam.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. With this quote, ladies and gentlemen, myself Shilpa, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, hosting this event. We, the Department of CSE, are very honored to conduct this Phase 3 AICT sponsored 6 days online short-term training program on cyber criminology and network security. On behalf of Gopalan College of Engineering and Management, a warm welcome to you all. Prayer is not asking. Prayer is putting oneself in the hands of God. We, GSM, always believe that everything starts with the name of God. I request everyone to be silent for a minute.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा.
Thank you all for your kind cooperation. Now I request our HOD, Dr. J. Somshekhar sir, to propose a welcome speech.
Honorable Speaker Sanjay Saha sir, respected Principal, Coordinator Dr. Pauline Madam, faculty members and all the participants, good morning. On the behalf of CSE Department, Gopalan College of Engineering and Management, I welcome you all to AICTU sponsored 6 days STTP on cyber criminology and network security phase 3 from today to 19th of this December. The CSE department organizes AICT STTP Phase 3 for faculty members, PG students, and research scholars to gain knowledge and information on cyber criminology and network security topics. Last 2 phases of AICT STTP was greatly helpful to the participants and research scholars, including based on their feedback at the end of the both sessions. So I ensure you that the STTP of phase 3 will be great helpful for participate. So due to wonderful resource persons in all the days we made and also their valuable suggestions towards cyber security and network criminology. And I let us appreciate the efforts to all the team members of CSC, Coordinator Dr. Pauline Madam and Co-Coordinator Manju Madam and Shilpa Madam, Aparna Madam, Smriti Nair Madam, Arvind Sir, Malay Sir, and Giri Sir, along with non-teaching staff, Raghavendra, Yogesh, and Manju. So because of these people efforts, we are making every STTP grand success. So that's why, so we thanks to each and everyone for your efforts and for making each STTP more successful. And also thanks to all resource persons. So if we take today's session, Sanjay sir and Ravi Kumar sir, Srinivasalu sir, Shobha Bindu Madam, Ananta Prabhu, Srinivasulu. So like that, we have all well qualified and all are in well positions for sharing their knowledge, even though they have busy schedules. So they are giving their valuable time to share their knowledge to the audience on the cyber criminology and network security topics. So thanks to all resource persons for accepting our request, even though despite of your busy schedules.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead. Hope all participants will enjoy all the sessions in these 6 days. And I hand over to Shilpa madam. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. M. Pauline ma'am to propose a speech about this STTP.
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. A pleasant good morning to all. A warm welcome to all the speakers and the participants of this AICT sponsored 6 days STTP on cyber criminology and network security at GSIM. This STTP deals with cyber criminology, a critical domain for military and business. The growing usage of cyber means that its disruption can affect armed force ability to function effectively during a crisis. Also, a cyber threat affects network operation. On the other side, concept of network and cyber criminology emphasizes a requirement for data communication security. A challenging environment and cyber threats forces to consider new approach to build secure communication. Here we have eminent experts who will be taking us on understanding to digital transformation, artificial intelligence in cyber security and ethical hacker perspective, network security and intrusion detection system, network security protection, forensic usage of data signal analysis, web security, basis of drone forensic, anti-social media in the midst of a crisis, redefining cybersecurity, vision for the new normal work strategy, challenges of network security and cyber criminology. Thus, the purpose of this program is to provide an insight on cybersecurity and to provide a theoretical concept to build a more intelligent, dynamic, and secure communication network. Hope the participants will benefit from the 6 days program. Best wishes to all the participants and welcome to all the speakers. Thank you.
One glass of lead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sir, let me introduce your brief introduction, then you can start, sir.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Today's our first resource person is Sanjay Saha, sir. I take this opportunity to introduce our eminent resource person, Sanjay Saha. Sanjay Saha is a postgraduate from Stephen College, Delhi. He belongs to 1989 batch of the IPS on Karnataka cadre. He took VRS in March this year. He has accomplished a high degree of professionalism in wide and varied professional assignments and finally got groomed and refined into an officer who has 360 degrees experience of all policing tasks, simultaneously maintaining keen interest in all staff functions and a passion for usage of appropriate technology in policing at all levels and in all fields. Important assignments have provided immense value to his professional persona. He has worked as Superintendent of Police in 3 districts, as IG of Eastern Range headquartered at Davangere, 2 UN missions in Kosovo, Yugoslavia and Southern Sudan, and headed Karnataka Police Computerization, State Crime Records Bureau and Police Communication on 4 occasions. In his last posting, he completed EM passport in Karnataka and finalized the DPR for Police ITV2. He is credited to have created an enterprise resource planning, that is a ERP software, the Police IT, based on .NET platform with 2.5 million lines of coding, 517 screens, 422 reports. This robot software is fully operational from 1,607 locations since 2011. He also headed the ambitious policing housing project of building 11,000 houses at the cost of rupees 2,272 crores. He is the founding chairman of the Karnataka State Police Electronic System Validation Committee created in October 2013. He is a member of the Technical Advisory Committee of Maharashtra Cybersecurity Program, a rupees 838 crore project. He created the technical framework for integrated command and control center for the state. He founded the experiential learning lectures on the 19th of May 2012. This lecture series aims at providing a blend of practitioners' expertise and an academician's deep knowledge and insight. He is a leading expert in cybersecurity with end-to-end expertise from critical infrastructure cyber breaches to cyber forensic. He is a leading expert on cybersecurity in India. Post his voluntary retirement in March this year, he is working to create a technology consultancy aggregator by the name Technology Consultancy Marketplace and a platform for worldwide. He believes that we are living in the world of disruptive innovation where emerging technologies from blockchain technology to artificial intelligence will define the world in the making. We cannot afford to miss Industrial Revolution 4.0. He is a technology management guru and an e-governance expert in his own right. He has been writing articles for a large number of magazines, mostly professional ones. He writes a daily post on WhatsApp, which has across 1,400 post days back to back on literally any topic of national and international relevance. Readers of Daily Post wait for it every day, addicted to it. He is the most consistent and the most prolific writer that the country had to offer. A man in the public domain with the philosophy to make change happen. He's consistently made it happen in policing, governance, management, and technology. Now, in his new avatar, he is bound to change the technology landscape of this country. I wholeheartedly welcome you for this session, sir. Now I hand over you to
Thank you, ma'am.
continue the session. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so thanks a lot once again for Gopalan College of Engineering and Management for having invited me. For I thank Pauline Madam, Mr. Professor Somshekhar, and Shilpa for giving a very liberal introduction of mine. I think this is the fourth occasion I am here on the STTP program and look forward to provide some useful, worthwhile information to the participants who presumably have joined from all parts of the country. And here we go. So my background and my capabilities has already been talked about. Now it is my turn to deliver the lecture. So as all of us know, since February 2020, we are in the midst of a complete digital transformation, and everybody and anybody who has not been impacted to date. So they are currently getting in the world. Directly or indirectly, if we take the vaccine immunization program, I don't think there is even one person in the world who is unaffected by digital transformation, and the vaccine becoming a reality is happening by a supply chain mechanism or a cold chain. Finally, everything being controlled by digital technology. So cybersecurity is the biggest challenge in digital transformation. And we are seeing the challenge to this digital transformation able to understand the gamut of digital transformation in the world. For that matter, digital technology, virtual space, cyberspace, all these terminologies which we use on a regular basis, we're not comfortable with them. When it comes to operations, when it comes to usage, even a simple thing like password, that only remains unattended. This morning, somebody was asking me about a password, that I'll put this number and that number onto a password. And people are still uncomfortable with the fact whether they should use a number which can be very easily be known by the hacker, or using the same password over and over again to different accounts. Even these small things, even after 10 months of digital transformation and living in COVID-19 touchless online time, we are still not been able to pick up. So I'll give you a fair idea as to where I come from. I'm a history postgraduate from St. Stephen's College, and I had nothing great to do with science and technology, even maths, for 20 years of my life, from 1980 to 2000. Then I landed in United Nations, and I realized that technology will be the main prime mover as we grow further in life. And that is when I somehow fell for technology. I didn't have a choice, and then henceforward, I kept getting involved into this more and more and more. And today, 20 years down the line, it even led me to leaving the Indian Police Service and get into an arena where I don't even have a certificate. And I'm touted to be one of the known cybersecurity faces in this country. So when I was handling my main project while I was heading the police computerization in Karnataka State Police, I realized that most of the things which are happening there are mechanical in nature. It might not lead to the desired goal. And I found it extremely difficult to handle with either vendors, multinational companies, the people working in the police who were technically sound. So everything was not adding up. Then I finally realized that this is a very undoable project, is a non-doable project. And at that particular point in time, I started reading about lots of tech entrepreneurs, of which Steve Jobs was one. And then I realized that nearly every tech entrepreneur has faced nearly the same plight. Though I was in the government, I was not an entrepreneur nonetheless. So I got a feeling that I'm also somewhere of those line, what we call as an entrepreneur, which means inside the organization you are trying to do innovative and creative things. Thing about Steve Jobs, there is a concept called distorted reality field. So he saw the world from a distorted point of view, his point of view, and his reality was totally different from others' reality. And over a period of time, that reality, the distorted reality became reality, and our reality was completely decimated. So, this is to give you an example as to our incapability to envision the world ahead. Digital technology is such a fast moving, all comprehensive, immersive technology that it becomes extremely difficult for an individual to understand the whole expanse of the technology and use it to the use it in the best possible manner for his own upliftment, for the upliftment of the enterprise. Suffice to say, even in the education arena today, after 10 months of struggle with online classes, evaluation, proctoring, and things of that nature, we have not been able to develop a software which is Indian, which belongs to the colleges, the schools, and also even we are not able to create a multimedia curriculum which is ideally suited somewhere on the lines of Khan Academy or Byju's in India, which is ideally suited for the things which we teach. So this is where it is. It's not only understanding and envisioning the realities or capability to put our heart, mind, effort, money, funding, literally anything and everything, and only then the digital transformation is going to happen. A meaningful digital transformation can happen in only in that manner. So today we are in the midst of a forced digital transformation. Want to get into this digital transformation, we were left with no choice, and having the technology, which all of us know, we decided, or might be that also in a very reflexive manner, we got into this technology. So we are in the midst of a forced digital transformation, which neither the IT companies nor the political organizations, nor the state, nor the governments, they tried to bring about. It has come naturally to us. We have to face it. We have to come out successful. I think large amount of area which we have traveled in last 10 months was not possible in last 2 decades, 2.5 decades. My background is I did not start with cybersecurity. Somewhere during the course of my technological journey, I got into cybersecurity because I realized that is the most important thing without which these systems cannot run. My background is I was into software development, creating an ERP solution, Police IT for Karnataka State Police, launching it in the year 2010, which has only 2.5 million lines of coding, 517 screens, and 422 reports, working on our own intranet, which is known as the Karnataka State Police Wide Area Network, converging into our own Tier 2 data center, which currently runs on a private cloud. 1607 locations, we don't work offline, and we have a database of nearing around a TB, and it is all data. There's no videos or all that, which is adding up to the whole space. And we are able to provide literally any and every information which is required by the police, both as a matter of their functioning and also fructification of a data regime, which we are getting into. And as we move further, this is the 11th year of a very robust functioning. We were able to deliver the police IT ecosystem way before the government of India was delivered only 4 or 5 years back. So how to make it happen was a challenge. And this is the challenge we took, and this is the challenge we delivered. It is working fine in the 11th year. There's absolutely no reason that anything wrong is going to happen to it in the days to come. It will become stronger and stronger. It has been validated by nearly every single system in the country, whether it is police IT or CCT, or whether it is Passport Seva, Sakala, or CCTNS of Government of India. Literally any and every system through APIs, through Bridge software, we have been able to manage, and everything has been running fine. So this is the capability of digital transformation. All of you would have seen what has happened in the IT ecosystem. IT means the income tax ecosystem, and large number of areas you have seen DMAT, National Stock Exchange. You have also been seeing what is done with the railway reservation and lots of other systems in this country. Suffice to say that digital transformation does not happen on its own. You have to make it happen. You have to understand your contours of digital transformation. There is no digital transformation package it will come to you. There will be no vendor who will come and deliver. It is you and only you who will be able to deliver it. It cannot happen in any other manner. So this is what is digital transformation. To start with, what is digital transformation? Digital transformation is primarily the integration of digital technology with literally anything and everything. It can be business, it can be governance. Here we are talking about business, but not necessarily it's business only. It can be literally anything and everything. It can be governance, it can be NGOs, it can be research, it can be literally anything. So here, when we talk about in a business school, we talk in an engineering college, we generally talk about business and how you operate and deliver value to customers. So literally anything and everything which is done in a business enterprise is to add value to the customers, bring down the cost, make the delivery more robust, have a very smooth, seamless supply chain. You are able to cut down cost, and you are able to bring up the effectiveness, which can happen only through an age of experiment and getting comfortable with failure. Failure, we should have a very romantic sort of a relationship with failure. Failure is not an end point. Failure is only just one of the points in your long way of technological progress, of development and growth. Failure cannot be treated as an end point. The failure will be a failure only when you accept it as a failure, and only when you accept it as an endpoint. If you don't accept it as an endpoint, it is just another stone in your way towards success. And digital transformation is a very complex game. So in a game of digital transformation, which is so complex, you cannot allow one bottleneck, one obstacle, one insurmountable problem to stop this whole journey of digital transformation, because there is no way out. And second, any company, any business enterprise would not like to be left behind in this challenge of progress. So putting digital transformation into practice in 2020 is the biggest challenge for every single enterprise, every single institution, every single policymaker, every single state, every single government in this world. Technology immersion has already happened. How do we make it structured? How do we create a workflow? How do we add meaning to it? How do we add milestones to it? How do we add authentication, validation, security? Literally any and every dimension of the existence in digital technology has to be added. Something which has happened naturally, or something which has been forced on us. So digital leaders share their experiences about digital transformation. And literally anybody and everybody will finally come to that. It is culture, process, and technology. It's something like your people, process, and technology. There's a model I've been talking about for, I think, large number of years, and that is being translated slightly from people. We take it to the level of culture, but it's not only people. There are lots of things which are associated with people, their practices, their thought process, their conventions, their ideas, their capability to stall progress, their incapability to understand technology, their incapability to put time, space, energy into something which is so critical to their basic existence. So three elements: culture, process, and technology. And also in these three elements of culture, process, and technology, you'll be surprised to find out that it is culture which is the prime mover. It is the culture which is the biggest showstopper. It is the culture which does not allow your mind to think beyond what it already thinks, beyond what it has to think. given the situation as it stands today. So large percentage, 86% leaders agree that digital transformation is the right mix of culture, process, and technology. You see the humongous problem which we face. Culture is not something which all of us know and all of us are aware of, and culture is not a blueprint. It's not a white paper. It's not something which is written in black and white. So your capability to understand the culture as it stands in your organization, that itself is a humongous challenge, and there are very few companies who have been able to understand culture, and even smaller number of companies who have been able to create an organizational culture the way they have wanted. There are a couple of companies like Amazon and Google. So they have been extremely successful, but the effort and the pressure and the relentless movement which has gone in that direction, it has taken 10 years, 20 years to reach that place. Process and technology. So 63% is culture, and then there's the management process, and then is the technology. Technology, I think, is the last point in that, because once your culture and your process is in place, today we have humongous nature of technology, literally in any and every field, whichever area, whichever a minuscule area, in a micro point, in a nano point, in a data point, whatever you require, that is generally available. So 40% of the digital reader report significant improvement in revenue growth. The beauty of the digital technology is that you can get the results in a pretty fast time. You can be iterative in nature. You can learn from the systems you put in place. Because you get a feedback pretty fast, you are able to move in an iterative direction and slowly upgrade the functioning of the college, functioning of the institution, functioning of the business enterprise to a totally different level. Customer loyalty, employee satisfaction, and revenue generation are the top KPIs. These are the key performance indicators by which leaders use to measure transformation progress. Correct. And the last thing, and also the most important thing, is the revenue growth. If the cash registers don't ring, companies cannot run, enterprise cannot exist. And also in an age which we call as a creative monopoly by IT behemoths, is the margin of profit, which finally adds to your glamour, finally adds to the resilience of that company, finally adds to cash reserve or a deep pocket which can sustain you even in a situation of COVID-19. So COVID-19 brought us to an area or to an age, to a touchless existence, to our rooms, to our literally bringing the life to a laptop. So one side you have a laptop in a room, you are stuck up there for months and months and months together, and we don't know how many months more. But with that, you also have a technology which is connecting you to the rest of the world. So it is a very paradoxical existence. Geographically and physically, might be you are attached to one single room, one single gadget, but mentally, professionally, work-wise, the world moves on. And the digital transformation today can be broadly brought down into four major verticals or practices. So first starts with technology, and in that particular technology also it is the disruptive technologies, the technologies of change which are exponential in nature, the technologies which have the capability individually and through any permutation and combination to completely transform human existence. Then is the management phase, basically operates on innovation and creativity. Lots of other things which need to happen to sustain innovation and creativity. But innovation and creativity are the prime movers of digital transformation as it stands today. And next is your people and culture. People and culture, I think the however much we talk, that will only be a minimal stuff. So understanding people and culture and also the process and the capability to understand the results and outcomes. It's not that the outcomes come by and you don't know how to measure those outcomes. Anything which is not measured does not happen. So it should be measurable and across this whole thing. When you talk about digital transformation, the biggest asset which you create in digital transformation is data, and your capability to use that data for your business and literally any and every single betterment is the prime mover that will decide between the super successes and the people who also ran. Data, I think, in a very short time will become an asset class in itself. So 4 dimensions to consider when developing a digital transformation strategy. It is the technologies, the management, the change, impact, results, and outcome. And to do this whole exercise and bring it to a shape where it is very useful, helpful to everybody, and you also have a reasonable chance of success, you require time, energy, preparation, execution, delivery, and results. And if you bring down all these points, if you bring down all these points to in a breakdown menu as to what is to be not to be done, I think it becomes a whole humongous sort of an exercise which encompasses the whole of the enterprise. Digital transformation in the COVID era did not happen because some company wanted it to happen, because Amazon wanted it to happen, because our supply chains broke down, because our communication channels, at least initially, broke down. It's not because of that reason. It happened because COVID-19 produced a situation which was one of its kind, first time in human history. There may have been plagues earlier, but there's no technology earlier. So you were left to your fate, your destiny, to die, to eat, not to eat, to have business, not to have business, and get into a remedial action or a correctional action, or try to come back to normal, taking a time period of another 10 or 20 years. So it did not happen because of the CEO. It did not because of the CTO. It's happened because of COVID-19. So that's the reality of life. And when you see that behavior is changing, whether it's by digital payment, whether it's shopping, payment behaviors, you can pick up any one of these facts which have been put in front of you in this slide. 40% will shop online more than shopping in store. So these are behavioral changes. These behavioral changes will not die away. It will not die down. It will continue even after COVID-19. So large number of things which you are picking up because of the convenience and because of the financial transaction capability, these are things are not going to go down. It will continue long after we have crossed the COVID-19 situation. It will go on and it will become a part of the system. So we have to fall in line or we fail. So that is a challenge. Fall in line or we fail. And most of the companies, to an extent of around 84% of the companies, believe that digital transformation is crucial to business performance. Yeah, undoubtedly, I think last 30 years we have realized that digital transformation is crucial to business performance. There was one point in time when Microsoft was earning 86.7% as their profits. Amazon has risen from a bookstore to literally the shop of the world. And while doing the retail experience or creating a retail infrastructure for the whole world, they also created a cloud. And that is one of its cloud extremely successful. But when 84% of these people feel that business performance is completely dependent on the digital transformation, only 3% of the companies have finished any company-wide digital transformative initiative. The understanding of digital technology, the understanding of automation, that is equally important. There are companies, there are government departments where they feel that using computers is automation. And there are also companies and organizations in this world, might be Interpol, might be National Security Agency of the United States of America, which is the biggest intelligence agency in the world, might be Pentagon in the US or Amazon or you take Google. So their understanding of technology, their understanding of digital transformation, and their understanding of how it is to be done and what they derive out of it, both by way of money, by way of ease of business, by way of traceability, by way of surveillance, literally anything and everything which goes with that particular process and that particular business is totally different. So there is a very differential mindset of understanding what is digital transformation, and depending on your understanding of digital transformation, your requirement of digital transformation, your funding of digital transformation, your processes of digital transformation, and the human resource which is required for that digital transformation is the level which you will reach in that particular digital transformation. Nonetheless, digital transformation from whichever mindset, from whichever viewpoint, in whichever sector, whichever enterprise, that needs to happen. Disruptive technologies with robust cyber security is the winning formula. There is absolutely no other way out. And when we come to cyber security, it is viewed differently. Cyber security till today is not even a standard paper in BTech computer sciences, I think in most part of the world. When my son was doing BTech computer science, I don't think he was even aware of cyber security, and most of the times they were busy with software development and things of that nature. They don't even get into the whole concept or big data analytics. So this is how the courses in the curriculum stand as it stands. And when we come to cyber security, so most of the companies are not even aware as to what cyber security is. Even in a day and age where ransomware can completely jeopardize your functioning and finish the company for all times to come. So 47% claim that their organization has not been affected by data breach. Whether you are affected by data breach, you are not affected by data breach, sentimental, which is not emotional. But unfortunately, the companies are not aware of these things because they don't go for cybersecurity audit. They don't go for behavioral study, which we call as the behavior anomaly. Is by behavior anomaly you'll be able to make out as to what has been happening with your company, right or wrong. And only 12% globally are not sure if they have suffered. There are lots of people who don't even know whether the breach has happened or not. They say that 97% of the Fortune 500 companies have been hacked, and the other 3% are not aware whether they have been hacked or not. So, the situation which you are in, it is a misplaced confidence. It is not in sync with the reality. Wherever we lose in life, whether it is cybersecurity or digital technology or governance or whatever might be the area or the field, wherever we have misplaced confidence and we are not in synchronous with the reality called life, the data points of life and your data point, or they have to merge together in a seamless manner to deliver what is intended to deliver. It is like the type of a cold chain which you are trying to put in place for COVID-19 situation. If that cold chain does not happen, the vaccine does not reach. The vaccine does not reach, the story goes on in the same difficult manner where lives are put to risk on a nearly daily basis. When it comes to the impact of breach, 56% are concerned about loss of customer confidence and 52% about damage of reputation. So customer confidence and damage of reputation, I think if both is not there, I don't think any company can ever run. People are not interested in making their company safe, secure, robust, and resilient. What they are concerned with that the data breach should not happen, that the hack should not happen. Both are so intricately intertwined that it will happen only when the first precondition is met. And first precondition is that you organize the technology, right technology, a combination and a permutation of the technologies available to create a solution which is as per your requirement of cybersecurity. Your threat perception, your threat vectors, your threat surface, and what you intend to secure in which manner. So we have to appreciate, understand, strategize, and act. It is not a one size fit all, and that one size itself is not available in today's world. So cyber security is at the center of the storm, and whether it is a business enterprise or a company or a government, whatever it might be, we have seen a couple of hacks in the government, we have seen in the banking sector, we have seen ransomware all around the place. So we are in the midst of a completely transformational change. It might also end up, if we remain the way we are, that the hackers, the malicious elements, the non-state actors, the rogue states might end up controlling things which should not go in their hands. So it's all about trust, and trust is a very fragile thing. It looks that everything is full of trust, but when you see this blockchain technology through Bitcoin and all that came into existence and the way it is going forward, we finally realize there's absolutely no trust in our banking system, in our central banks, into the global movement of remittances. So somebody will have to come and prove it to us that, look, man, what you presume and trust is not the trust. And the trust can go to a much higher level through a mathematical creation, which we are saying in the case of Bitcoin. 80% experts with strategy background pertaining to digital transformation have highlighted that they should expect massive security challenges in the creation, in the operation, and in a post-hack scenario. Hacking is the new normal. That is what I've been saying for a long, long time. Agile and proactive security layer. First, that the security, cyber security, should be a matter of default. It is not a value add. It is not something complementary. It is not something supplementary. It has to be a part of the system. It has to be a design element. It has to be a part of our general awareness. When I was working in Sudan for United Nations, at that particular point in the police forces, it was not only the army, every single UN personnel which landed in Sudan, They were duty bound, they were legally mandated to go through a security course, at the end of which you are past that course. If you didn't clear that course, you were to be repatriated back to your parent country. So that is the nature of harsh implementation, forceful awareness, and a capability to react to situations which you are likely to face. If that is the capability we are not able to give to the people who are working in any company, any corporate, any agency, any government, any intelligence agency, any research institution. You remember that, I think, one in The Hague. So they have a laboratory where they check up this organic and biological weapons, something of that nature, and there the GRU of Russia. So the intelligence agency comes down to Amsterdam, picks up a car, hires a cab, makes the dicky of that car as a data center and go for a close access attack. Somehow it did not happen. That's a different story altogether. And the were caught by the Amsterdam police or the Netherlands police. But suffice to say that until unless we don't have a security culture, no digital transformation can take place. Security culture today has become the most important. It is an imperative to our existence, imperative to our digital existence, imperative to the digital transformation in which all of us have been sucked in. And the schools and colleges are also not left behind. I run a program called Bangalore Cyber Security Awareness Initiative, and the way it is gaining grounds in school and colleges is something difficult to believe. And there are a large number of organizations from the UNICEF to National Commission of Women who are interested in taking this program further to across the country. If you people or anybody is interested in this program, we are certainly there to take it to your location, to your area, to your sector, wherever you intend to have it. This is where we are. We are on a completely wrong foot. We have not realized the importance of cyber security. We are playing dirty games. We have vested interest, and that is why we are getting stuck up on every single day. One third would try to cut costs by paying ransom. Just imagine of a situation that you have been kidnapped, and instead of going to the police, instead of going to the agencies who have the capability to set it right, or at least give a right indication to people who are in this nefarious act. But 33% feel that it is better to pay ransom than to invest in information security, than to invest in cyber security. Let's realize one fact, that paying ransom is only one point affair. It is something which can then keep on repeating. But investing in cyber security gives you the capability to come to some benchmark level and then keep on improving. It is happening in your enterprise. Your people are involved. They will understand what is the level of security. You will have cyber security audit. You have lots and lots of other exercises by which you can make out as to what is your cyber security stance. And one single hack can train you, can make you matured in cyber security, which you will not even in 10, 20 years. 16% are not sure if they would pay ransom or not. The company has been hacked and they are not sure whether they will pay ransom or not. The whole business has come to a standstill. So this is the thought process, this is the approach, this is where we are positioned in this fast moving cyber insecure world. Just over half are prepared to invest in security. If you don't invest in something, you will not get the results. If you don't prepare for something, you are not fit to take that particular exam. Investment by way of money, by awareness, by capability, by human skills, by supervision, control, transparency, measuring its impact and control, moving in an iterative manner, and be persistently behind that particular object and that particular thing which you intend to achieve. Only then it is going to happen. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. The pace at which we made COVID-19 vaccine is clear enough to prove that depending on the global effort in whichever area or effort in your organization, you can certainly change things. You can make things happen which earlier used to happen in 5 years, 10 years. In 10 months' time, Pfizer has been able to create a vaccine which will finally save humanity. Who will be the savior? Nobody knows. If you want to be a winner, You have to behave like a winner. You have to act as a winner. You have to organize things like a winner, otherwise it's not going to happen. The estimated recovery cost has increased to 1.5 million. One single breach means 1.5 million. I have gone through large number of ransomware breaches in United States of America, and the cost has been anywhere between 18 million to 44 million, depending on the sector, the area, and the intensity of the breach and the horizontal extension of that particular breach. And couple of cases, it has gone to 44 million as well. And it takes anywhere between 5 months to 18 months. And then also, it might not be for certain that we'll get back to the normal which was earlier. It might be a decimated, a skeletal, a degraded system, even after investing $18 million to $44 million over a span of 5 months to 18 months, and still coming out completely dissatisfied with the performance which you have delivered. It is a major breach in event and customer confidence. So customer confidence go down if there is no customer confidence. I don't think businesses can run. Lost trust is always hard to recover, and there are companies. We have seen large number of companies. So once they lose trust, they are out of business. So this is where we actually are. So what we call as the business mind, and the business mind is not ready to take cyber security as business. It is not ready to take factor in cyber security in the valuation of a company. People who have been doing management, they will be aware of the fact as to how company valuation is done. And company valuation, when you say information security, is totally out of the company valuation. And to the extent what is actually happening on the ground is a different story. There's even policies are not in place. Exactly 57% claim to have only 57% of the companies have a piece of paper which they call as the information security policy. What is the gap between the information security policy and its implementation, and even employees being aware of it? Only 39% of the employees are aware of the cyber security policy. Leave implementation. Only 39% are aware. Whether it is hard coded into the software, whether it is hard coded into SAP, whether it is hard coded into business process, it is hard coded into their incident response system, nobody knows. Organizations are also failing to progress incident response plans. Where are we in the incident response plans? 30% in process of implementing an incident response plan, and 70% what is happening to them. Nobody knows. When you see the GDPR, so General Data Protection Regulation of the European Union, which is supposed to be the gold standard of data protection, I think 70% of the Indian companies are not competent to handle the GDPR. 1% of the companies have finished response plan. In last 1 year, only 1% of the companies. So this is their commitment to cyber security. This is their commitment to data protection. And this is the accomplishment of the gold standard of data protection, that is General Data Protection Regulation of the European Union. It has become a reality, but it has not become a business reality. It has not become a part of the data life cycle. Data life cycle is something where we can go up for weeks together to explain what data life cycle is. We still don't have data classification in any of the organizations. When you don't know what is gold, what is diamond, what is platinum, and what is mud, and what is terracotta, and you're trying to secure literally the whole ecosystem, that is never going to happen. And even if it happens to some considerable level, I think the most valuable assets will be lost the first. We live in a reactive world. The world has never been proactive. We remain the same. A third party would rather pay ransom than invest in cybersecurity. So what is a business mind? You can understand the business mind. This is the MRA of the business mind. Whatever you don't understand is the area which you cannot plan. What you don't know, you can't imagine. What you can't imagine, you can't share. What you can't share, you cannot make it into a business plan. Vision starts with shared vision and slowly comes down the line and becomes a tangible reality. From the intangible to tangible, everything at the back end is because of your knowledge, skills, and competencies and capability of understanding the future, even if it is uncertain and even if you are moving on a untrodden path. Digital transformation has brought heightened cybersecurity risk to every individual, government, and countries besides the business enterprises. Our journey thus far and where do we stand today? So we have traversed the journey in last 25 years. Last 10 months have been extremely fast paced. We call the exponential change. I think people who had never gone into a e-meet or a video conferencing mode, I think they're on video conferencing from morning till evening. People who had not heard of either Google Meet or Hangout or Zoom. I think that has become a buzzword today. Everybody knows Zoom. I don't think there's anybody in the world who does not know Zoom. And from I think 10 or 15 million dollars valuation, Zoom has gone into a valuation of $143 billion by single product, a video conferencing product, which is available by tons and tons of vendors. Still, it happens to be the world leaders in video conferencing capabilities. Cyber is the operational system of the world. Today, the physical system is not the operational system. Wherever physical system is there, it is controlled by the IT systems, is controlled by the digital system. Even our critical infrastructure is completely controlled by the digital systems. Our banking, our aviation, you name it, you have it from atomic power plants to anything which is under the sun. Finally, has a layer of a digital system, and that is your national health service, your hospital, anything, your cold chain, your vaccine immunization process, literally anything and everything runs only on digital technology and digital technology and digital technology. Have you felt cyber insecurity? In the physical lecture, when I have been asking whether you have felt cyber insecurity or not, so generally people have been saying anything between 5 to 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. By the time I finish my lectures, I think everybody is 10 to 10 or might be more. So this is the cyber insecurity in which we are in. And if you try to fathom out as to what your reactions would be in case of a cyber breach or a hack or somebody hacking your bank account and taking money, I get couple of complaints on a daily basis. And I find the people are completely at a loss. They feel, and in the social media world, they feel that things can be raised. They have deleted things. Suffice to say that if anything and everything which gets onto the digital medium, it cannot be raised. It is permanently there. Where it is, how it is, that is left to the understanding the people who understand technology. But suffice to say that it is there. Can we fathom out the challenge? So, to best of my understanding, I have seen few people, professionals in whichever area, whether it is banking, whether it's technology, whether it is IT companies, there are very few people who are able to fathom out the challenge. They don't have the time, energy, or inclination to get into this. And until unless you spend time, energy, and you're inclined to learn, and you find something useful, something utilitarian, something which will add value to your existence, so you're not ready to take the challenge. So we are in a very, very paradoxical sort of a situation, a very ironical situation for the world that the challenge is humongous and we are not ready to take up this challenge. We are not even in a position to fathom out this challenge, whether it is for myself, whether it is for my company, whether it is for a government department, whatever it may. And because of these reasons, you find that 500 spike in cyber crimes during the COVID-19 times. 500 times spike in cyber crimes. That is what NSA Ajit Doval has to say. And what does he say? It is because of limited awareness and poor cyber hygiene. It's not because the companies, not because the government, it's not because the enterprises which control end to end. It is because of the people who are managing their own systems, who are in their cubbyholes doing their job, people who are there on their machines and doing their daily job. Because work, entertainment, education, financial transaction, fun and frolic, so everything has converged into the laptop, inclusive of our STTP, FTP, online classes, everything has come into this laptop. So there is a need to have one is awareness, which I've been talking about since the beginning of this lecture. So what we call as a cyber hygiene. Cyber hygiene has to be taught as a school, college, separate discipline. And it has to encompass his personal, academic, research, and professional personas. Otherwise, things are not going to improve. We are again in the documentation phase of National Cyber Security Strategy 2020. This is perfectly fine that there needs to be a cyber security strategy. Nonetheless, something which is not implemented, something which is not shared, something which cannot be taken to the ground, something which cannot be made tangible. So it has a very, very limited sort of a result, limited sort of impact. How this national cyber security strategy comes into force, what is created, whatever happens, what is the impact, we will be able to decipher only 2-3 years down the line. MEA raises issues on Indian leaders. I think some 1,000 leaders or 100 leaders, they have been snooped upon by Chinese firms. What have we been able to do for that? How do we react to that? We also have a situation with the National Informatics Center, which is the best or the biggest or all pervasive government organization which takes care of all our governance related needs in the digital part. So there the hacks have happened, and they have been able to steal information, or NIC contains information related to national interest, including the Prime Minister and NSA. What our information has finally been stolen and what has been used for, we have absolutely no idea. And one of these days, we found PM Modi's Twitter account also hacked. Paytm is a insiders getting connected to people who are in hacking, who are in the breach industry, in a digital breach industry. So they play as a conduit. It can happen on its own, but there are lots of times where insiders also play a role, and insiders have done solid damage, humongous damage to large number of organizations who were digitally very sound, very safe, and they were able to do their operations for, I think, 10 years, 12 years, 15 couple of decades without anybody in this whole world knowing anything about it. And one particular agency which I'm talking about is the National Security Agency of the United States of America. I remember the program was being explained by Pauline, right, talking about national security, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and lots of other things related to nation states, and where we are going forward. So this is the type of damage which is being done by insiders because we don't get into behavior anomaly. Until unless we don't get into behavior anomaly, on the request coming to the machine, the way I use the machine, what time I use, for what purpose, what is my access and privileges, that supervision, audit logs, finding a meaning out of the audit logs, some machine learning on the audit log, metadata study, all these things, until unless we don't do, we'll not be able to make out as to where we are and where we are moving and what is the nature of remedial action which we should take. A rise in COVID-19 related phishing and ransomware attacks. See, this whole exercise is based what we call as the social engineering. And social engineering primarily works on your mindset, your incapability to understand couple of things which is camouflaged, which is covered, which is put in a different garb, where you are not able to get into the metadata, you are not even in a position to read from which email ID it has come. Recently, there was a complaint from Mount Carmel College that the principal has been writing to large number of faculty members asking for some money and things of that nature. And I was really surprised that one of the senior teachers or the professors of that particular college did not even check the email account. It is just written Sister Anita or whatever is the name of the principal, and only because of that particular name being there, immediately the money has been. A large number of people in Tara exercise, they are not in a position or they don't want to get into whether the money is asked for or the money is being sent to you. So they get a cryptic message where one amount is there and one link is there. So they just see the amount and they click. And the conversation preceding that particular transaction has been that I am sending you this amount of money and it will get transferred into your account. And the person feels that the communication which has come after this particular telephonic conversation would be regarding the money being transferred to his or her account. Unfortunately, it is communicated the other way, and it is your money gets destined to the bank account or wherever that fellow wants to transfer that money. So COVID-19 is something, it is still remains a scare. It still remains something which we immediately want to respond. Somebody asking for money, somebody creating some app related to COVID-19, something might be on vaccine, the finding about vaccine and finding about from where corona actually emanated. So where did the virus come from? I think these two have been the main areas of phishing attack in last 8, 9, 10 months. increased security risk has also been added because of working from home. You don't have the VPNs, you don't have the systems, you don't have the capability to configure, you don't have the IT people who are readily available to you. So you have to manage literally anything and everything. And whatever gaps come by, it comes by. You're not able to know whether the gap is there or not. And the work also should happen. So it is a very desperate attempt to somehow make things move. And that is why over and over again I talk about digital transformation in a structured manner with funding, with skills, with competencies, with end goal, with targets, with impact, with results, with iterative process as you move further. So potential delays in cyber attack detection and response is also happening. FireEye in a research, I think around a year back, they said between the breach and the detection, it takes nearly around 200 days. I'm not sure of the fact as to how many days it is required now. So physical security is also exposed, and there's an influx of cyber criminals because all these guys are at home and they are getting into things which they shouldn't do. Nonetheless, they have the time, energy, the skill, and the expertise, and they have their targets which are in a vulnerable situation. They are not as protected as they used to be in a normal, structured, completely digitally enabled environment of office. Business continuity is one thing which the IT world is very happy to talk about. Nonetheless, the business discontinuity of the nature which has happened in COVID 19 was never imagined of. And we talk about disaster management systems. You have the disaster recovery center for a data center. And when all the data centers and all the disaster recovery centers they fall prey to the pandemic, what does the disaster recovery center do? Those are huge and huge complications which has happened. And it is only these IT behemoths who have been running data center of the size of say nearly two football fields, and they have been operating from under the sea in Iceland and lots of other areas. Only they have the capability to transfer data from whichever place they want in whichever manner, and that is how these big IT behemoths were able to run the global systems nearly fail proof without any discretion of stopping it or without any break. It went on and on and on. And finally, all of us moved on to the cloud, and cloud certainly is a quite a dangerous enterprise. And before we got into the cloud, nearly 74.6% of the people, as per the IDC report, they were not interested on moving on to the cloud, but we're left with no choice. All of us moved on to the cloud. Post COVID 19 cyber security posture, we have to decide, we have to define, and as we move further, we see these problems, it will keep arising on a day to day basis. Once we come to normalcy, these problems are not going to automatically vanish into the blue. We would have finally created systems which have to be hardened, which have to be made more workable, which have to be basically improved on the cyber security scenario. We have to do threat modeling. We have to understand the threat vectors. We have to understand the threat service. We have to understand literally A to Z of cyber security as we move further in the age of complete digital transformation, which is our fate, which is our destiny, and which is where the world is moving on to. COVID-19 themed ransomware lure well, given levels of anxiety. So all of us are anxious. Anything related to COVID-19. So we are ready to open that particular attachment, that document, communication, SMS, payment details, payment links, and that is how we are facing problems after problems and problems. And one advice, guidance, or an advisory that as we move further, we will keep getting things connected to the vaccine, and there'll be lots of fake mails, there'll be lots of breaches, hacks, anything can happen. Money is at the back end, and when money is at the back end, that is how the hackers operate. That is how hackers relate their very existence. So, and as we move further, you will realize as to what all has happened in the last 10 months. Cloud computing, I talked about this. We move further. The backdoors, were 59 Chinese apps, so they were banned. And then another, I think, another 49, and then totally, I think, more than 100 plus have been had. And it is told that they have backdoors. What does the backdoor mean? That the data which you are punching onto that particular app is sent to China in the present case, or to any server wherever it is destined to as per the program of that particular app, and as per the government policy and as per the terms and conditions, it should not go to those places. So backdoors, we are talking about backdoors, but we are not sure of the fact as to whether we have even one single criminal case in this country which is booking any of these Chinese app, any of these Chinese companies that they have done something illegal. So that is where we stand. So finally, over the course of last 55 minutes, where we have reached is that we are living in a cyber physical world. There is no digital world separate. There is no virtual world separate. There is no cyber world separate. There is no physical world separate. So we are living in what we call as the cyber physical world, what we call as Industrial Revolution 4.0, what we call as the Industry 4.0, what we call the Society 5.0. So this is the cyber physical world, where on the layer of the physical world, we have the cyber world, which comes on to by way of controls, by way of actions, by way of value add, by way of knowledge based on the data which comes from the physical world. And there is also a component in between these two, which we call as the cyber social world. And cyber social world is very deeply, intricately intertwined with both the physical world and the cyber world. And they are defining the narrative of the nation. They are defining the narrative of the world, and they are being a solid challenge to the established electronic and print media. And they are also a tool of propaganda. They are also a tool of extracting data out of you. So we'll not go further on the social media thing. That will be a matter of a different lecture, might be 2 3 days down the line. So this is where ransomware has brought us to, and this is the first ransomware induced death where in one of the German hospitals the patient could not be admitted because it was attacked by ransomware and the systems were down. He was taken to a different hospital which was 50 60 kilometers away from that particular hospital where he had to go in the first place, and in the process he died, and he was declared dead on arrival. This is the first patient's death which can be directly related to a cyber attack. And as we have been talking about, industrial revolution 4.0 is where we have arrived. So the first industrial revolution was with mechanization, mass production, then computer and automation, and finally we are into the cyber physical systems. We don't realize as to where we are arrived because all of us have been piggybacking on systems, on processes, on companies, on vendors, on intellectuals, on cybersecurity experts, and things have been moving on and on. And finally, we have reached a level where things have become automated and so complex. But there is also a necessity that we understand. If you don't understand, it will become extremely difficult to move further. That's number one. And number two, we will not be able to bring about that particular change and that particular revolution which it is intended to happen. And we as Indians and professionals and people who we claim to be very capable, as we have lost out in the first, second, and third industrial revolution, we will lose out on the fourth industrial revolution also, which will have 10 times more impact than the industrial revolution itself, and it will impact literally anything and everything from your society, economy, industry, government, individual, literally anything and everything. There'll be absolutely nothing which will not be impacted. Impact on society will be bigger than industry. We have to understand that the impact on society would be bigger than industry because all of us feel technology means industry, technology means business. As an individual, as a community, as a society, or even as a nation, we will not be impacted. It will impact technology, will impact technology, and technology will impact economy. Economy will interact with business, business will interact with whatever, and that is how it goes on. So scalable efficiency. So it is doing things right, and scalable adaptability is doing the right thing. So we have reached the situation where I have to do the right thing. And there's a final thought process which says from the pacemakers to the nuclear power plants, from text documents to the hybrid cloud, cyber is the world. Only cyber is the world. But what we have seen in the earlier side, now it is not cyber. We can call it cyber. Physical is the world as we move further. So total digital transformation has happened because of COVID-19. The technology came into play. They got into a seamless marital relationship. And over a period of time, last 10 months, we have, I don't know whether you have realized or not, but I have realized that in last 10 months, my system of or my thought process, my way of working, my way of responding, my way of using technology, my way of connecting to people, I think literally everything has transformed. I think we were talking about a marriage couple of days back. When the marriage was on your on the website or on the video link, the marriage happened, and the lunch was sent by Dunzo to the guest house. Guests were all guests on the digital mode, and the food came on the physical mode. I think this is total digital transformation, and this is total change of culture, where we are ready to take the harsh reality of life and use digital technologies, accept to transform and make life more livable. How much more time it will take for COVID-19 and the normalcy to come, none of us are aware of, but suffice to say that large part of our today's existence will continue even if the normalcy comes in another 6 months to 1 year or 2 years time. And this is the way we make our softwares. And this is known as the Weinberg second rule. If builders build buildings the way programmers wrote programs, then the first woodpecker that came along would destroy civilization. So this is the strength of your software. This is the thought process on which softwares are made. Windows operating system started with, I think, 4 million lines of coding. It is somewhere 11.7 or 12 million lines of coding today. Without visualization, you will not be even able to make out as to what the problem is. And the only way to sort out the problem is that first the problem should happen, only then you get back to that particular part of the code, and then you are able to do what you should. And this whole hacking, all of us know hacking. So it started with curiosity. It's those kids sitting in garages, some rooms here and there, and they want to prove to the people that they are better in technology. They understand the software, they understand the code, they understand it better than the people, the practitioners, the industry, literally anybody and everybody who is literally commercially associated with that particular software, with that particular code, with that particular capability. And what they do is they start hacking. So what we call as the script kiddies or hackers, using tools, web-based, how tools, and then they finally prove it to you that they are technologically more sound. So this is the only interest which they had over a period of time in last 25 years. So we have moved from curiosity to revenge to monetary gain to espionage, political activism, and national security. And today, the nation states, the non-state actors, targeted attacks, APTs, literally anything and everything is happening. Who is the attacker? Who is the attacked? That difference is completely wiped out. Cyber security, cyber weapons, cyber tools, offensive weaponry, defensive cyber weaponry has become a part of a nation's existence. So that is the reality of life, and the nation states are ready to have a business relationship with anybody which will improve their technology stance. And the nature of technologists which are there in intelligence agencies and in espionage agencies would be one of the best in the world. So that is where we stand. And today we have reached that the the cyber part or the cyber crime, it has become a complete independent crime corporation in itself. 860 billion of illicit illegal online markets. So this is where we are. Intellectual property, crimeware as a service, ransomware. Ransomware 1 billion, I think that would be already, we would have crossed it long time back. And today, what is the total quantum of ransomware? We are not aware. But 80% of the cyber crimes today are ransomware. That is where we are. And the criminality or the criminal, the nature of the cyber criminal organization has transformed from individual to organized crime to platform criminality. So they operate the way Ubers and Amazons operate. Where data is a commodity, here crime is a commodity. Here hack is a commodity. And you will be surprised to believe that Silk Road, one of the most infamous sites on the dark net, they used to do nearly 20% of the drug trade, United States of America. That is where we are. Money laundering, drugs, trafficking, literally anything and happen, anything and everything happens. And if you get on the software part of it, you will get zero-day exploits, you will get malware exploit kits, you'll get literally anything and everything. And if you are able to get a zero-day exploit, you will be richer by from anywhere between $30,000 to $250,000. Zero-day zero day is a vulnerability which is located for the first time and has never been tried. So the likelihood of that vulnerability to be exploited is nearly 100%, and that becomes the arsenal of most of the nation states. They buy zero day and then they create a zero-day exploit, and they are able to get into systems, and it's very difficult to make out whether your perpetrator is in your system or not. And there have been times where large number of attacks, these people have remained in the system for days and months, and they have been able to do humongous amount of damage to that particular country, that particular project, that particular cause, that particular business interest, that particular research, that sort of an investment, which would have yielded huge amount of results. It did not, because there is somebody who is there into your system, who is divulging information, which is helping the adversary, which is helping your enemies, which is helping your business competitor. And that is how things have gone on. And I was talking to one of these big insurance companies, and they told me, "Sir, I need information." By information, what he meant was to hack the email account of the people who are managing those particular accounts of insurance companies. And then he is in a position to quote at a level which is competitive, and he gets the business. Getting hacked is the new normal. We have already talked about, and we move further. And this is what the business companies are supposed to provide. And this is where the whole challenge is, that they have to provide confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is the CAD on which IT systems, IT industry, IT resources ran for last 2, 3 decades. But now, given the nature of hacks, nature of breaches, and the inevitability of the hacks, when you will get hacked is the only question. That you will get hacked is not a question which is there today. So, in that particular situation, that circumstance, and that ecosystem, resilience is of primordial importance. What does resilience mean? In case you are hacked, because of the nature of systems which you have created, you will be able to bounce back to your skeletal degraded systems, which provide a basic level of service which this company has been providing in a very short time. I'll give you an example, that our website of Karnataka State Police was hacked by Pakistan, I think in 2015. And we were able to come back to our skeletal degraded systems resilience enabled part in 4 hours time. So our capability to react, it is just like our capability to react to a pandemic. We did not, we have taken a long time, has been huge. But when it happens next time, we have been through this whole process. We know what it is, what a lockdown is, what is the vaccine development, who will do, what will happen, who are the leading players, where is the loss, where is the gain, human behavior to process, to technology, to psychology, to your capability to withstand, to be in a room for weeks together, to go into quarantine after quarantine. All these things we would have picked up. What has been progress on the resilient front? Certainly, progress has taken place on the resilient front, but not to a level which it is desired, and not to a level which is required. So its inevitability part we have already discussed, and so there is a corresponding converse indispensability or inevitability that our systems are inbuilt with resilience. There is absolutely no way out. So this is the digitally porous world. This is the floor on which we live. And if we live on this floor, how long and how far we can go is left to your imagination. And instead of the developer being at the center of the IT ecosystem or the IT universe, we find the hacker to be at the center of the IT universe. And this is the most tragic thing which has happened to the IT enterprise and the IT ecosystem and the digital virtual world, which we have created with so much of effort. And the battle is for data. Data till today has not been declared as an asset class. It has already become one. It is de facto a very important, might be the most important data class, way beyond money, way beyond anything. If somebody is to ask as to what quantum of data is monetized by Facebook, it is 100%, 100%, and 100% is not only the 100% data which is being monetized, they are finding ways and means to monetize this data much more than what it is today by correlation, by patterns, by way of predictions, by way of lots of things together, and creating a data is a true reflection of the way the consumer, the customer, the enterprise is supposed to react, and accordingly they react. So that is where you are adding value to data. And when wherever money goes, brokers also get into the same aspect of transactions, and we have large number of data brokers who are in this trade. Monetization of data is the biggest business proposition in the world today. If you get into monetization of data and you put all these 4 or 5 big IT behemoths, I think nearly 80-90% of money which they earn is out of monetization of data. If they are not able to monetize data, and data which is created out of their own systems, data which has integrated, data which is dynamic, which is in real time, data which has the capability to predict things, the data which will finally decide as to what you think, where you move, where the customer will go. It is the data which finally tells you as to which advertisement will be put where. This is the capability of monetization of data. I am not a customer of Facebook or Google. The customer of Facebook and Google is the advertiser. I'm just a product, I'm just a subject. The data is extracted out of us for those customers. And if you have not seen this recent movie called The Social Dilemma, please see this movie called Social Dilemma. And then you will realize that you are a pawn into this whole system. And the way data is extracted out of you, and then it is monetized. That is one part of the story. The other part of the story, I've been talking about insiders. These are the biggest of the hackers. They are known as hacktivists. Same way as you have activist is a political activist, it is a social activist. These are hacktivists. They use hacks to take forth their thought process, their philosophy, and they are of the opinion that information should come for free and there should be no control on information. And we start with Julian Assange of WikiLeaks fame. So he used to collate all data coming from different sources by the people of the same thought process, but people who had the capability to hack and give the data. His job was to consolidate the data and put forth on WikiLeaks. Then you have Edward Snowden, who literally challenged National Security Agency, and he was able to do away with nearly 250,000 pieces of data and bringing a damage and bringing cybersecurity to the central stage of our thinking and human existence in the year 2013. And his particular interview with Glenn Greenwald, I think it went on to some 13 million views, and overnight he became a celebrity, and he also became a criminal which the United States was looking for. So this is where we are currently. I think is still hold up in Russia, and then you have Bradley Manning with the U.S. Army cap. So he was working for U.S. Army. He was working in Iraq. He was able to do away with, I think, 100,000 documents, and that was done in a very simple manner, wherein he used to carry a CD every day to his facility in Iraq, rewrite, overwrite, bring it back, and this whole very strict army mechanism which was not able to find out as to what he was doing. And finally, when he revealed it to the media, when he revealed it to the world, then he was caught. And today he's serving a 68-year imprisonment term on lots of charges which have been proved in the courts. And the last one on the extreme right up top part is Cambridge Analytica. So he is Christopher Wiley. So he was the gentleman who gave all the details regarding to the company called Cambridge Analytica, which happened to be one of the top leading artificial intelligence companies, which did consultancy and did operations for large number of political parties, inclusive of Trump, and was able to make a difference. That is what it is told all around the world, that they were able to make a difference in the result of US presidential elections 2016 and also in Brexit, and they have put their hand or they have poked their nose in large number of democratic political processes in various parts of the world. So this is where we stand today. The world is at crossroads. It's very difficult to make and understand, and that have a very clear cut understanding of black and white between the criminal and the police. It is a very mixed up world, who is playing what role for what purpose, whether it's government, whether it's the private sector, whether it is any intelligence agency, whether it's an NGO, whether it's a business enterprise, whether it's a research organization. People are there lock, stock, and barrel in this dirty game. Some is even treated as legal at this particular point in time. So internal security, external security, counterterrorism, rogue states, cyber war, money laundering, underworld, underground economy, Naxalism, data brokers, hacktivists. So this is the whole range of it. And the IT companies which have been created to give us services, for them privacy has no meaning. The world has been up against arms. of Facebook for years and years and years, but nothing has changed because their business model is based on decimating privacy. If privacy remains the way it should be, there will be absolutely no way that they can run companies with this level of profit and this level of control. And when they have started behaving like super states, more data is more money, and everything is there for a price. And so finally, we reach in a scenario where literally anything and everything, and we are the skull in between, and all around the place you have terrorism, cyber defense, virus, OMS, disinformation, DOS attacks, the information security, So this is the cyber, this is the homeland security map and sketch of Department of Homeland Security, what they call as the I incorporation. India ranks 11th in cyber crime. Suffice to say that depending on the intensity or the usage of cyber tools, and I think in the COVID-19, this is a pre-COVID-19 situation, and COVID-19, given the total quantum of population or the total population which India has, digital transactions we have got into, the number of crimes are also increasing. The exact percentage of crime, we might be in a position to get in another couple of months. But as of now, we stand 11th, and this is the kaleidoscope of all types of cyber security issues all across the face of this earth. It starts with Lazarus. It is basically what I call as the ISIS of the cyber world, created by North Korea. We'll not get into the details of it. They are one agency which has the capability to get into any financial crime which is dealt through a cyber digital mode and successfully escape. Russians hacked is basically the hacking of US presidential elections 2016 through the intelligence agencies of Russia. They were able to hack the Democratic National Committee servers, get information, play around with that information, play around with the psychology of nearly 80 million voters, and supposedly have changed the election landscape of United States of America. And our commitment to cybersecurity, how low it is, we can see with Sony Pictures hack in 2014, which was the third or the fourth hack of the Sony company. And when the hackers moved in, they were able to lay their hands on one Excel sheet in one of their servers, which had 63 passwords in plain text. And lo and behold, I think the whole company opened for them with 63 passwords on offer. I don't think there was much left. And they were able to get away with all the movies and all other important documents which they were looking for. And since then, I think every Tuesday, instead of Sony Productions releasing the movie, it was the hackers who were releasing that movie. Yahoo's 1 billion identity theft. It brought down the valuation of Yahoo company from $6 billion to $1 billion. And then we have WannaCry. WannaCry has been a ransomware attack, the biggest which happened in the year 2017. And this was able, 2017 or 18, so, and it was able to take care of literally dozens of countries in different areas, inclusive of the National Health Scheme of United Kingdom. It was there in Crimea. It was in Ukraine. It impacted lots part of the world. It impacted India. Though we kept on claiming that it has not impacted us. We stopped our online banking. We stopped lot of our online services when attacked by WannaCry. Our capability to react in case of an attack still needs to improve. So we completely bring things to a standstill, and things which can be very easily done, say like patch management. WannaCry's patch was basically released somewhere in March 2017 or that particular year, and this attack happened in June. Until then, we were not patched, number one, and we did not have the capability to patch in a centralized architecture, which should happen in 4 to 6 hours or 2 to 6 hours, but that was not done. And for I think a week or 10 days times, we were not able to provide those banking services which we should have done. Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, the data manipulation part, all of you are aware. Now Cambridge Analytica is a defunct company. So they believed in a concept of what we call as the ocean model of psychology, where they're able to map your thought process, your inclination, your fears, your hopes, and finally bring it to into a model of psychology. And when put data which has actually been generated by you through social media and other related accounts to give you a psychological profile, and based on your psychological profile, campaigning is done in a very, very micro, nano manner, and you are impacted to a level which you will not be able to realize. You are basically being put into what we call as an echo chamber, and you keep getting things which will impact you to a level which is unimaginable. Same thing, you have another ransomware, that is PTR ransomware, which is able to stop the functioning of Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust in Navi Mumbai for I think around 2 days. So this is where we are. So they say nothing is certain except death, taxes, and getting hacked. So have a cyber incident response plan ready. And this is the first digital weapon which the world used. So this will give you a fair idea as to the nature of weapons which would be in the process of creation today also. So this was a handiwork of US and Israel for a nuclear enrichment plant at Natanz. This I call as the 9/11 of the cyber world, where the precision was the key and it was an absolute game changer. 50,000 lines of coding with zero-day vulnerabilities, moving into the centrifuges, getting into their program controls, and then finally able to stop the nuclear enrichment plans, nuclear enrichment program, and they were able to stop the nuclear capabilities which Iran wanted to have. Outstanding coding and outstanding testing. We have buffered systems. Like Karnataka State Police, wide area network is a buffered system. This was a buffered system. All critical infrastructure, they are all buffered system. But what happens if I throw a pen drive when I am in your college after I deliver a lecture, and on my way back deliberately I leave a pen drive? What will happen? So might be somebody will pick it up and they would like to see as to what is there on Sanjay Saha's pen drive. You might not be able to find out as to what is there on Sanjay Saha's pen drive, but certainly your system will get infected. And depending on the nature of programming which has been done in that malware, it will start impacting you. And this one particular slide I'll explain, and this will make things very, very clear to you in lots of brief situations. How it happens, what is the kill chain life cycle, what you are looking for, whether you get a time to react or respond, and what will be the nature of response, what is the roles and responsibility of a company, how much helpful they can be, how much helpful they cannot be. So I think this whole of things you should be aware of that. How Stuxnet work? So it starts with infection. Infection happens through what? A USB stick. What does it infect? The Microsoft Windows system. How does it infect? It has the digital certificate, so it is allowed in. So this is a worm. This is a worm able to evade automatic detection systems. So infection part, what you have is a USB stick. You have the Windows, Microsoft Windows. It will work on. It shows a certificate. It gets into a system. It is a worm which can evade automatic detection system. So these are the basic points which you have to aware of as to how the infection happens. Once the infection happens, now this has to reach the targeted industrial control system. Who has made the industrial control system? It is by Siemens. Nearly 85% of the industrial control systems in the world are made by Siemens. So this is a system which was deployed to run high-speed centrifuges. Why do you run these high-speed centrifuges? You run the high-speed centrifuges to enrich the nuclear fuel. So nuclear enrichment is the key, so that uranium reaches U-238, if I am right, to be used for any nuclear capability purposes. So if that system is the target, it's fine. If it is not the target, then the worm moves on to the next system. And the beauty of the whole exercise is while it is moving on to the next system and then the whole this exercise is going on, the worm also attempts the internet to download a more recent version of it. So at the back end, huge amount of research and development is happening on the Stuxnet worm. And then they are able to compromise. What do they compromise? They compromise the logic controllers which control the centrifuges. How do you compromise? You use zero-day vulnerability. There were 20 zero-day vulnerabilities loaded onto the Stuxnet, and only 4 zero-day vulnerabilities were used to compromise the system. So, zero vulnerability, I have already defined. I'll not get into defining zero-day vulnerability once again. And then this thing goes into the operations of the targeted system. So it spies into the operations of the targeted system and it keeps on gathering the information and finally takes control of the centrifuges. Taking control of the centrifuges, what does it do? It make them spin to failure. It can be a speed which is much higher or a speed which is much lower. Finally, the enrichment does not happen and it is the failure of the centrifuges. So before getting out of the system, it provides false feeding to outside controllers. So what you see on your dashboard, on your screens, it gives a feeling that everything is running fine, ensuring that they won't know what's going wrong until it is too late. So they have been fed with false information, false videos, false dashboards, false situational awareness till the time it finally literally and you are not in a position to do anything to remedy, to correct that whole system so that it gets back into the enrichment plan. So that is what this Stuxnet is. So you have to understand this, you can call in a way, we call it as the kill chain. So if you understand this, you understand hacking, and you also understand where you fit in, what to do, in which manner, what capabilities you require, where the information will come from, and more often than not, information has not come from the vendors, it has not come from the owners, it has come to some third party, third source, some media, some confession somewhere. That is how the information has come. So we have to realize. So this is the picture of one secret Natanz nuclear complex in Natanz, Iran, 150 miles south of Tehran. This is where we are. We talked about Edward Snowden. This is the Edward Snowden story of NASA, of NSA getting hacked, National Security Agency. National Security Agency employs the largest number of computer scientists, mathematicians, and linguists in this world, more than Google or Facebook or any other company. And even with that sort of a capability and capability to intercept, capability to create softwares, capability to run IT systems, capability to hack the world, capability to do espionage, even with all that, this is what happened in with the NSA. The leaked NSA, they had a tool called Eternal Brew. So that was leaked. I think it was Shadow Brokers was the group. It is a hacking group which was able to hack into NSA systems, get Eternal Brew, finally transform it into something which became a ransomware. The in between, before we get into the ransomware story further, this is also something where we talk about encryption. 2015 San Bernardino case. The FBI was investigating this case where 14 people were killed, 22 injured in a terrorist attack, which was done by a Pakistani couple in a place called San Bernardino in the US. And court ordered either to bypass or disable the auto erase function of the Apple iPhone 5. Finally, that did not happen. The FBI did not get into the appeal for this particular order, and they used a company called Cellbrite. It's an Israeli company to do a backdoor, and they were able to get the results. What happened with the results is not known, but suffice to say that 1 month down the line, even Cellbrite was hacked. Whether the script was stolen or not, we have absolutely no idea. So encryption, which is currently at 26-bit encryption, as to the problems which is creating for the law enforcement agencies, for literally anybody and everybody who is on the right side of the law, and the criminals and hackers, intelligence agencies, people indulging in espionage, AI companies like Cambridge Analytica. So they are reaping the benefits out of this encryption, degrading the level of security which all of us have. So IT behemoths, they are the new reality. They are taking on nation states. All the governments have tried their level best to get information out of Facebook, bring the cyber security stance of Facebook to a different level. All those things have not happened. And as we move on this ransomware story and the hacking story, we find one in India 2 years back, Cosmos Bank, 94 crores were siphoned off. So they hacked the servers, they created a proxy server, and they were able to take away nearly 80 crores out of this whole proxy server mechanism in 28 countries. And the transaction was between $200 to $2,000, nearly 13,000 transactions in more than 2 hours, and absolutely nobody got aware of it through cloned debit cards and credit cards. So this is the damage which can be done. And here also it's claimed that it was done by Lazarus. That is the group which is connected to the North Korean government. And that is the group which was involved in large number of other bank hits. They were also involved in the Polish banking sector. So this is known as a watering hole attack. When they were not able to attack the Polish banks, so what they did was they attacked the Polish banking authority. And once they banged the Polish Banking Authority, so this is known as the Polish Financial Supervision Authority, and they hacked into it. And it was a regulator. So it was a regulator. So all, if I remember correctly, 36 banks are connected to this regulator. So they keep interacting with the regulator on a regular basis. And because the regulator itself was hacked and it was infected, so all these banks also got infected. Such sort of attack is known as the watering hole attack. You attack the base water hole, which in this case is the banking authority, the supervision authority. Their banks come and all these people get infected. This was the Bank of Bangladesh in 2016. So this is supposed to the biggest bank. This is Central Bank of Bangladesh, and they were able to do away with $91 million. Actually, it was the attack was planned for $1 billion, and only because couple of names went wrong that it got restricted to $91 million, of which most of it remains untraced even till today. And going to the SWIFT system, which is the world money transfer accepted system across 200 countries. So that was compromised and manipulated. And this money through Nostro and Vostro accounts. So basically, the bank having an account in some other country and some other country's bank having an account in your country, and that is why they help the financial transaction of each other bank and each other country. So through that mechanism, so money went out Bangladesh and finally landed in Kuala Lumpur and things of that nature. Went into casinos, but till today we are not sure as to what exactly happened. And the only one person who is caught in this whole racket is a bank manager from Kuala Lumpur, a lady. So this is what ransomware does. So instead of man getting kidnapped, it is a data which is getting kidnapped, and you are supposed to pay a ransom to gain control over that particular data. It encrypts your data, and you will not be able to do without the decryption key. Usually payable in Bitcoin, which is also a product of blockchain technology, and crypto ransomware variant. So WannaCry is a crypto ransomware variant of the whole thing. Two technologies which are used in ransomware primarily. One is Tor, the Onion router, which was created by US Navy to help support the democratic movements in various parts of the world. Unfortunately, because of its anonymous nature and its high level of encryption, it is being used by lots of antisocial, illegal, hacking, underground, money laundering groups all across the face of this earth. And other is Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency, very difficult to find out as to where and who owns and how the operations happen. So the Tor and Bitcoin together, so they are helping in the ransomware attacks all across the face of this earth. And if you get into the state of ransomware attack in the year 2016, we see 40% of the industry was hit by ransomware attack in the last year, which means 2015. And 20% of victims had to cease operations immediately. So this is the nature, intensity, and capability of this particular attack. 2016, 2015 was basically very nascent years. It was only in the year 2014 when cybersecurity was declared as the #1 national security threat in the United States of America. This is just around 2015. From 2015 to 2020, I think it is a long journey. It is, might be more than a lifetime journey, and more so in the COVID-19 situation when this has reached levels which we cannot imagine. The state of ransomware, I think it is in a totally different level, and 80% of the all attacks are ransomware attacks today. WannaCry, PT, and Bad Rabbit. This is how the ransomware attack, and this is how the WannaCry attacked. It attacked India also. We were not ready to accept, but lots of damage was done, and today we are not sure of the fact as to how much of Bitcoin movement is there, though it is legal, though it is declared illegal. The process, the infections, how the infected systems work. And lo and behold, nearly, this is WannaCry on the National Health Service of United Kingdom. So of the total number of trusts, 27 were infected acutely, 37 were also infected, total trust infected, trust not infected 44, but they were still reporting disruption. Trust attempted to contact WannaCry but not locked out of devices. So nearly two-thirds or three-fourths, but for the last 21, the whole thing was impacted. And in 24 hours, this is the way the WannaCry spread and took over nation and critical systems and health services all across the face of this earth. And courtesy Marcus Hutchins. So he's a researcher, Brit. So he was able to find the kill switch. They say that the of WannaCry, they had left a kill switch that somebody will be able to get hold of that kill switch, and once the kill switch is activated, the spread of the virus does not happen, or the spread of the ransomware malware does not happen. And Marcus Hutchins was able to do that. Had it not happened, it would have taken over the world. Suffice to say, today also, if there is a huge ransomware attack, it will have the capability to take over the world. Same is the case of distributed denial of service attack. Given the nature, humongous nature of Internet of Things which is happening, it is theoretically possible to bring together the computing capabilities of thousands and lakhs of machines and get into a distributed denial of service attack, which will be extremely difficult for anybody to control. City of Baltimore, after 2 years of the WannaCry ransomware attack, still remains unpatched, and 10,000 computers were 10,000 computers were encrypted by ransomware. Suffice to say, there were still in, I think, May 2019, nearly 1 million computers which were in the wild in United States of America. Being in the wild means that they have not been patched. The patch is issued on 17th of March 2017, and the patch management has not happened till around 7th of May 2019. So this is the casual nature at which we operate. And because of that casual nature of ours, city administrations, small federal administrations, critical infrastructure, hotels. There's a hotel which went through a ransomware attack last year somewhere in Austria. So this is where we are. And because of the pressure, the shame which will come to those city governments, there are also governments in United States of America at the lowest level, which you call as the local self-government. So they have ended up paying a ransom. They say where everyone fails. You have the best of the companies, you have the best of the cybersecurity companies, you have the best of the research companies out there, you know, the best of the government who understand digital technology, but they have not been able to do much. And hit by ransomware attack, Florida City agrees to pay hackers $600,000. So this is where we are in the City Council of Rivera Beach. What date to pay? I think after that also a couple of places, these payments have been done. So ISIS of the cyber world is Lazarus, the hunt for the infamous hacker. They have tried their level best. Nothing great has been achieved. All of us know that given the sovereignty of an independent nation state, nothing great can be done legally unless you have a treaty. And that treaty also, your MLAT treaty as they call it. So even the MLAT treaty, there are lots and lots of procedures. And what these guys are able to do in a split second, the government's 1 year, 1.5 years, and lots of action will happen. But nonetheless, nobody will be brought to book. So this is the complexity of our existence as a nation state and our complexity of living in a digital state, which is one single one when everybody and anybody can operate with barely any rules, but for standards and benchmark and operational systems which can be created by private bodies, whether may it be IEEE, may it be any other not-for-profit organization, which controls the internet. So WannaCry we have heard of, Lockheed Martin 2016, Bangladesh Eyes, Sony Pictures. We have been talking about all these. All these are the creation of Lazarus between 2015 to 2018. And they have also gone into cryptocurrency. So they have been hacking cryptocurrency all across, whether it is Chinese and basically they have gone to China and South Korea. So they have not left supposedly the most secure part of currency, that is the cryptocurrency. And with huge amount of effort and 4 years of hard work, and literally a digital investigation which is one of its kind. So finally, they have been able to come up with this gentleman, Park Jin Hyok. So he has been responsible with for large number of cyber crimes, but being located and being a part of the country called North Korea, it is extremely difficult to do anything with him. But for taking his photographs and showing it to the world, that a great investigation has been done by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States of America. While we are working independently, states are working independently, banks are working independently, organizations and agencies are working independently. The ransomware on the hacker side has become a cooperative cartel. That is the most dangerous thing. They have come together. There is exchange of information. There is exchange of technology, exchange of thought process, of systems, processes, how you hide, how you get away, what the Interpol is doing, what other countries are doing. So this is where we are in a new report released today, whichever day, I don't remember which day. Mediant spotlights the evolution of Fin11, a financially motivated hacking group from specializing in high tempo, high volume, malicious campaigns to a laser like focus on ransomware and extortion. So, cyber criminal groups are increasingly gravitating towards ransomware, while evolving more and more towards a cooperative cartel model, according to the new research by threat intelligence firm. So this is the biggest danger which is coming our way. There has been a 752% increase in ransomware, and what we can say as we move further, the 80% of the hacks happen because of human error, their negligence, their ignorance, their incapability to understand systems, their incapability to understand the role. So as we move further to keep ourselves safe, backup, backup, and backup is the only way out. Use robust antivirus software. Keep all the software on your computer up to date. Patch management. WannaCry happens because of lack of patch management. Trust no one. Insiders. Enable show file extensions. You have to see that, otherwise don't react. And immediately disconnect it from the internet or other network connection in case there is something of that nature. And on a totally different there is isotope which is being used to kill Sergei and Yulia Skripal. Now, these Sergei was a double agent, and when he was, I think, in the U.S. in Salisbury, he goes and sits on a bench in a place called Salisbury, and there is a military grade isotope. So he gets in contact with that. They move to the hospital. He should have died, or his organs should have failed in around couple of minutes. Unfortunately, he survived. And this is the nature of attack which is happening. So you can call it cyber, you can call it physical, you can call whatever you feel like. And this is Jamal Khashoggi. He's one of the rebel journalists of Saudi Arabia. And this gentleman was killed in its embassy in Turkey, Istanbul. And they say that most of the information which came out of his phone was through his friend, and his friend's phone was compromised by a software company called NSO, which is an Israeli company, and that particular software is sold only with the tacit approval or a formal approval of the Israeli government. This is where it is. We have been talking about Cambridge Analytica. We have talking about Facebook, the capability to bring democracy to its knees, the capability to create a environment where you are in a position to hack minds of voters. You are in a capability to impact the sentiments and emotions which has never been done in human history to that particular level. So this is the capability with a company like Cambridge Analytica was able to create in itself and became a bargainer of despair and hope across the face of this earth. This company had the largest number and the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. Fortunately, this company stands closed. And these were the data-driven campaigns which Alexander Nix, who was the founder of these companies, ran across the face of the earth. Wherever he got customers, and he got customers for a huge price because he was able to make prime ministers and presidents out of nothing. The power of big data and what he called as the psychographics in the electoral process. So he was an expert of that. And finally, we come to what we call as the digital underground. This is the underground economy. This is the mafia economy of the digital world. 98% or even might be 95 to 98% of the digital world is something out of our reach. And where your Google searches don't reach. Google searches only 0.38% of the digital world. So that is where we stand, and Silk Road investigation stands as a prime example of a very high level technical investigation done by Federal Bureau of Investigation of the United States of America. And it was only a couple of seconds when the main culprit, Ross Ulbricht, he came onto internet, and that particular couple of seconds provided the lead, and on that this whole investigation was done. Within 6 months time, this fellow was brought to book. He is in one of the jails in the United States of America. Suffice to say, and this is the nature of the empire which we created. And as I told you, so two systems on which most of these ransomware and then these darknet companies work. One is the onion router, and second is money being transferred through Bitcoin. And it was so surprising that nearly 2,500 uh, 2,500 or 25,000 of these Bitcoins went missing. And when further investigation was done, because Bitcoin is immutable, you will always get the transaction. It cannot be hacked. So they were able to get that particular of Bitcoins, which translated into dollars was taken away by two FBI agents. And there were cases against FBI agents, and they have also been put back into the same jail. So they are also facing criminal cases. So the weakest link is the human factor, and 80% of all attacks happen because of the human factor. It can also happen that the same way as you have lone wolves in the terrorism world, you have lone wolves of the cyber age. So they will attack on their own. They don't need any company. They will be inside the system. They can do wreak damage to a level you cannot imagine. Do we work on it? We don't work on it. We don't get into behavior anomalies. We don't study the audit logs. We don't get into anything which we find as a discrepancy, as strange. So that regular analysis will only be able to throw up as to what sort of a nature of employees we have. Believe that all our employees are good. Edward Snowden to Bradley Manning. So all these people are the insiders. They have been working with those organizations, inclusive of the U.S. Army, and they have done what they did. So top 5 reasons why attacks are related to systems hygiene. We talked about hygiene in the beginning at the time of Ajit Doval. And again, we are coming to hygiene again and again. So end user didn't think before clicking. Weak password, default password, 97. I've been lecturing on cyber security for last 7 8 years. At that particular point in time, the most popular password was password. Today also, password remains the most popular password, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can well understand our inclination towards cyber security and how much of love and affection we have for our own security. Insecure configuration, use of legacy or unpatched hardware and software, and lack of basic security, network security protection. So this is where we are. So until and unless we create a risk-aware culture, the culture has to change. We have been talking about 60% pertains to culture. It pertains to culture when it comes to digital transformation. Pertains to culture when it comes to cyber security. So automate security, hygiene, and manage incidents with intelligence. Intelligence should become a part of the system. Intelligence will become a part of the system when we start using data. We understanding data. We use big data analytics. We use machine learning. We use artificial intelligence for cyber security. And every single endpoint has to be accounted for. It's not only the network, the endpoint machine which I use. Everything has to be secure and has to be a part of the mechanism which all of us should understand. So we have entered what we call as a brave new world. The best work at home jobs for reliable income. This was the pre-pandemic days. So 30, 40,000 rupees jobs, which you used to get when you work from home. The world has completely changed since then. And this laptop is the center of our universe. The threat vectors has increased. The whole world has become an office. And literally every connection is a vulnerability. And when you move on to Internet of Things, the vulnerability increases manifold. And the whole world is office, which, as I told you. So we have to work on the cyber security machine. It is not an independent one. It is part of the system on which we work. And that is the only way we can improve the cyber machine if we work on the cyber security machine. It is complex, it's tedious, it is for the long haul. It can only happen if we make it happen. Nothing happened its own. The vendors cannot do, the cyber security people cannot do, nor can the cyber crime investigators do. It is your problem, it's your job. You have to find a solution. You have to work, certainly work with all these agencies to make it happen. The same way as you create a security for your house, you know broadly what is to be done. You cannot live in a house where there are no doors and windows, leave aside locks. So currently you're living in a house which has no doors and windows, leave aside the locks. So this is where we are. Cyber security has to be by design, whether it is a part of the software, whether it is a part of the operating system, whether it is a part of the network, whether it is router, whether it is cloud, whether it is virtualization, whatever is there, cyber security has to be designed. It has to be hard coded in the hardware systems. It has to be hard coded in the software systems. It has to be hard coded in the process. Without the cyber security, nothing shall function. So that is the only way we move forward. And these cyber security vulnerabilities will certainly emerge when the vaccine distribution happens, and you see how the vaccines will get stolen and will reach the black market and will be sold at rates which will be unimaginable. So this is where we are, and no cost is more, because return on investment does not work on cyber security. It is return or investment or decimation. The choice is yours. The big IT behemoths have invested huge amount of money, and that is how they are able to run global systems fairly secure with very rare aberrations. But other companies, whether it is hacked, not being hacked, we don't even know. And life goes on. So it is the difference between return of investment versus decimation. It is not recimation, it's decimation. Decimation means completely finishing your company, your enterprise, your industry, whatever you are indulging in. Every sector has to rise to the challenge, inclusive of education and inclusive of research. That's the only way we can take things together, and that is the only way we can teach our students to understand cybersecurity, be useful in the enterprise where you go. It will be a caliber, it will be a tool, it will be a skill which you can independently get a job. And it will also be a tool which will be complementary and supplementary for whichever job which you take, and it will help you for rest of your life, because cyber security is not going to go in the same manner that cyber is not going to go. So you have to live with that. You will. It is something like living with police, with guards, with locks, with cameras, literally anything and everything. So industry, government, academia, researchers. So it hits all, it affects all, it impacts all, and everybody has to come together to create laws, standards, protocols, governance, compliance, regulatory, and audit. All these things have to be done for this brave new world where all have become cyber citizens, we have become netizens, we have become physical citizens, all into one. So our life, one important integral part of our physical life is cyber. So cyber has to be controlled, cyber has to be created, cyber has to be regulated, cyber has to be structured. Literally nothing will happen until unless we have very clear-cut laws, standards, protocols, governance mechanism, compliance, regulatory and audit mechanism for the world in which we are getting into. So this is where we are. So far, the bad guys are smart, well-equipped, and determined. They have defined our cyber trajectory. They are defining our cyber trajectory even now, with only a couple of exceptions. Those are primarily companies who have invested in cyber security. They are the governments who have spent it in cyber security. Say a government like Estonia or Singapore. There are lots of very good examples as well. So when the bad guys are smart, well equipped, and determined, there is no reason that the good guys can't be the same. Good guys also can be the same. They should be the same. They should even beat the bad guys in technology, in the capability, in cyber security, and things of that nature. So today, a more secure world. We have to move towards a more secure world. Otherwise, life becomes difficult. we become insecure, we lose our money, we lose our respect, we lose our societal games, cyberbullying, literally anything. Every single aspect of our life is driven by cyber insecurity. I get cases of boys and girls getting into lots of stuff in social media, that becoming public, life becoming hell, suicides happening. So we have to move towards a more secure world, more open world, more transparent world. We talk about what we use, the way we use, the way we utilize it, what we gain, what we don't gain. That has to become the narrative to be towards a more secure world. We all deserve it, certainly. All of us deserve to live in a secure world and not in an insecure world. So I'm extremely thankful to all of you for having been completely patient to me and go through a nearly 2 hour all lecture. And also I thank Gopalan College of Engineering and Management to having given me the fourth chance to speak to the STTP professors, lecturers at different levels across the country, and having shared my views with all of them. I wish them all luck and success. Thanks a lot.
Sir, shall we have the question and answer
Yeah,
session?
we
sir?
can. We can.
Yeah. Dear participants, kindly unmute yourself and if you have any queries to ask, you can proceed.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We
Uh,
have
there
somebody
is,
or we wind up?
yeah, we'll wind up, sir.
Okay.
You can wind. Yeah, thank you, sir, for being
Yeah,
part of
thank
this
you.
Phase 3 STTP and giving us insight knowledge about this digital transformation and the different ways of ransomwares, how it happened, and what are the ideas to overcome from this attack. And also, as the word you said in register,
Hello.
part of the system. Yeah, one
Hello.
second. Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am,
Someone wants
sir,
to ask
actually,
a
I have
query.
a question to sir. सर एक्चुअली हैव एम आई पॉन्ड वाला जो वेबसाइट है उसमें
Yeah.
है एम आई पॉन्ड करके एक जो साइट है या तो उसमें हमें ये पता चलता है कि अब हमारा जो मेल आईडी है वो हैक हुआ है या फिर किसी साइट के ऊपर हमने साइट हैक हुई है तो व्हाट यू गेट फ्रॉम इट
Yeah. I think if others mute, it will be helpful. Hello. Hello.
Ah, sir.
No, it's not. I'm not able to hear.
Because, sir, because could you explain what you want the
Yeah, I
information?
can type my
You
No,
have
no. Now
typed.
you can tell me. I think it is clear now. You can just tell me.
yeah. So actually, my that in my pond site,
Yeah.
what we get that some site is hacked information that where I was provided the earlier some my email or mobile number, or is it providing me the details of that my mail ID is hacked or not?
Say if you get into any of these sites, so they can give you a basic information, and how far their information is reliable or not reliable, we have absolutely no idea. So once your system gets hacked and you are not able to make out that your system has got hacked, then it will continue to remain the same with different entities and people will keep hacking you. So if you expect that all services, whether I am pawned or whatever, so that can be only taken as an additional information or an information from where you start. In the same manner, when we have database pieces on darknet, so that can only be a starting point. That is not the one and final thing that we can rely on. So cyber security, if it is handed over to websites like Ampond and you take it as the final gospel truth, the biggest problem is that we treat the digital technology and whatever is available on the internet, which is shown to us as the final Brahmavakya sort of a thing. And that is where we keep landing in more and more problem. And if there are backend or there is a backdoor to Ampond only, then what do you do? Even Darknet, the most popular service provider, so that company was hacked, I think, 4 or 5 months back. So you have to find your ways and means to run your systems. You cannot go on Ampond and run a weak and open system. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So my next question is there. Recently, I have got a receipt of a restaurant where my mobile number and name is used in of Chennai restaurant. However, I never visited Chennai in my life.
Yeah,
till
so
then.
your mobile
And
number and
still-
all that.
But it is the mobile, it's the paid, cash paid memo is received. I
Yeah.
received that.
Yeah.
So what should I do in that case?
You don't react to it because that will be leading to some other problem.
Oh, actually, okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank
See,
you.
what happens is they will give you things by which your interest is arisen. And once your interest is arisen, then you will click, you will do something. And that will take you to a totally different place.
Okay, actually, I go to that restaurant website and
That
for
might not be
customer
a
care, I
restaurant.
reported
That might
that.
not be a restaurant.
Hey, there is a restaurant. I
No,
confirmed from someone from Chennai.
the website might, this might be a fake website.
No, this I got the customer care number there, and I reported that someone is used my name and number. So
Yeah.
please check, or if I have, if my account is created on your restaurant, then delete it. So is it?
Yeah, so see that the person who is running the restaurant certainly has not done it 99.9%. So
Right.
it is either their systems have been hacked or they have got information from wherever and they have started sending these receipts. Whosoever will react, they will take him to a further level. So somebody will say, okay, that day I ate might be the true receipt. Then they will say, we'll give you this offer, that over. So we are just sending you the link. Once you get onto that link, other story will start.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
has posted in the chat. I'll read out, sir. What is their query?
Yeah.
What is the percentage of cyber attacks are traced by police every year? This is from Jayasheela, ma'am.
What is the total number of cyber attacks reported to the police? Reporting
Traced.
is,
It is
I'm
traced.
asking you, what is the total number of cyber attacks reported to the police? If 10 attacks are reported to the police and 2 are traced, and actually 10,000 attacks are happening, then where this data is absolutely of no value. And all I can tell you that anything which happens on the Indian soil, like Jamtara and all that, so there you are able to detect, but any ISP which is outside of this country, so that does not generally does not get traced because of lots and lots of other reasons. Even if you are able to get the right IP and your digital investigation is proper. And an indication of what percentage, if it is 25% or 50%, it will not be more than 50% anyway. So what percentage is actually being cracked is not even the tip of the iceberg of what is actually happening. And the person who has put this question, if he or she can ask amongst the friends, as how many of them have faced either cyber attacks or hacks or bullying or impersonation, you will see 7, 8 of them would have faced this particular thing in last 1 or 2 or 3 years, and of them hardly anybody would have gone to the police. Hello.
One more question.
Yeah.
Can we complain online about the cyber attack without
Yeah,
going to police station?
Yeah, you can. There are portals are there. You get into the internet and you will find CyCord and there are other portals of government. So you can complain directly, but only in cases where it involves pornography. So those are directly dealt with the platforms and it is brought down. Rest is sent to the state police and it is left for their action.
Statistical measures, na? Don't put a mean, median, average, standard. That you remove in the abstract.
Yeah.
Both abstract. Just to check both parallelly.
Yeah. Anything else?
Any more questions, participants? We can conclude, I think, sir.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you. And also, as you said, if we think the intelligence to be a part of the system, and if we go with the system hygiene, everyone with that responsibility, we can overcome this cyber
It
attacks.
will
And we
improve
can,
at least.
yes, sir. It will improve. Surely, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being
Thank
with
you.
us. And
Thanks a lot.
thank you for your cooperation, sir.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Bye. Take
Yes.
care.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Dear
Thank you.
participants, afternoon session starts from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. and the resource person is Dr. Muruganandan Ponnuswamy. And the topic, sir, is going to deliver about artificial intelligence in cyber security. We all will meet at 1:30 in the same platform. Thank you.